Hello, my name is Jacob Candle, and I'm going to be talking about the psychological and physical warfare events during the Cold War. World War II was a dark time that led to a lot of turmoil and resentment. World War II was considered to be a war that would end all wars. Little did people know that just a few years afterward, a new kind of war would arise, a war filled with psychological consternation and dismay. This would be a new war that would settle the long dispute between the USSR and the Allies. This war would be known as the Cold War. Before getting into the main events that happened, I would like to go over some of the head political figures of the time. On the left side, you will see three of the key Soviet figures, the main one being led by Joseph Stalin, shown on the bottom left. On the right side, you will find three presidents of the time. On the bottom right is an image of former President Franklin D. Roosevelt. Although President Franklin D. Roosevelt was not a part of the Cold War, he was a key factor into the events that led up to it. Moving on to some background information, the Cold War was from 1947 to 1991, and the main parties that took part was the USSR, known as the Soviet Union, and the United States and its allies. The first major event that would take place during the Cold War would be the West Berlin airlift. On the left side is the USSR flag, with the United States flag being on the right. As I stated on the last slide, the first major event was the West Berlin airlift. The West Berlin airlift was the shipment of supplies to the citizens of West Berlin by using aircraft. The airlifts would take place from 1948 to 1949 and would be the key reasoning for the fall of the Berlin Wall. This event would be led by the United States, and they would drop over 2 million tons of supplies. The USSR would try to counter this using force and threats with military weaponry. This caused a very small disruption to the event and would not affect the United States victory during the Berlin airlift. Here are some images of the event actually taking place. On the left side is a picture of Douglas R-4D and US C-47 aircraft unloading supplies at the Tempelhof Airport in Berlin. And on the right side is a C-54 Skymaster dropping candy for the citizens of West Berlin. The next event that would take place is the Korean War. The Korean War was between the Communist and Democratic parties of Korea, with the Communist being the northern and the Democratic being the southern region of Korea. The war would last from 1950 to 1953 and would end with a divide between Korea. This war would also be heavily propagandized through the media and would be exploited to sway the views of each side. On this slide, I will show you the Korean War propaganda for both sides of the war. Starting on the left is a United Nations propaganda piece showing the Communist Party treating the North Koreans like animals, while on the right side is a communist-made piece that shows the alleged actions of the US soldiers and what they would do to the North Koreans if caught. With how explicit these images are, it could be easily seen how it could sway the eyes of the people.